It's that time again for This Week in Trivia. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike. I am the guy at ZIMCO Entertainment. I'm going to push record on the podcasting option, which is actually going to get posted this week. So, what I have to do is I have to reintroduce myself. Again, I'm Mike Zimmer with ZIMCO Entertainment, and this is what we call This Week in Trivia, kind of a review of the week that was in trivia and kind of how the sausage is made and some of the things we got right, some of the things that maybe we didn't, which that popped up this week. So we're going to discuss those here in just a few moments. Again, if you've joined us before, thanks. And thanks everybody for coming out this week. It was a busy week with Valentine's Day week, and we had some big crowds Tuesday and Wednesday, and then everybody disappeared yesterday. So thanks for the people that did come out, but Galentine's Day and all the people maybe getting to dinner ahead of the weekend because it's going to be a crazy weekend at the bars and restaurants this week. So just a reminder, if you are one of those fantastic people that are out and about for Valentine's, take care of your servers and your bartenders. Be nice to everybody out there. Leave them a nice tip. Getting to things. A lot of people also out there under the weather. A lot of crap going on. Obviously, this time of year is cold and flu season. I've been slowed down today. I had a nap today. I normally don't have time for that, but I made time for a nap today because well, this Friday is my Saturday or Sunday. Let's put it that way, because I start writing on Saturday. Usually get up Saturday with coffee, look over some new stuff. People send me stuff through the week, so I kind of scan back through that. Same thing Sunday morning, get up, read all the news stuff, look for anything interesting that we can use that we can turn into questions, especially the in the news questions. That's where that gets done. Also, anything from pop culture, anything that's going on in the world of science or whatever else. That's how it gets done. So by Sunday evening, I kind of have sculpted out or crafted out some of my threads and passage, what I'm going to do. And then I start building everything. And then, of course, we have a music trivia at the Wyvern, the Perch 360 in Punta Gorda. If you've never joined us, especially with the weather getting right after a miserable January, it's gorgeous. On the rooftop of the Wyvern Hotel there in Punta Gorda, Jen Bean is our host there. Each round, it's all music. Each round is five questions and then three audio bonuses, and each round is themed. That's the one that gets done first because that's on Monday. It's our only Monday gig going right now. But by the time I get that done Sunday night, I'm ready to put things together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm even with as many venues we got going right now, 17 venues. I'm writing into late into the night, Wednesday into Thursday morning, and then I have two gigs on Thursday. So yeah, Friday is my catch all day, but it's also a day where I kind of, if like I said today, tired, wiped out. I needed a nap. Anyway, let's go over the questions. We had a plethora of interesting news stories. Of course, the gaming platform that had a week-long global outage this week was PlayStation. Um, the video game questions are very popular for a specific age group. And I I know some of our crowd doesn't appreciate it, and maybe you don't get those because the demographics from one place to the next. And that's again, if you want a little background on how we put this together, um, we have all age groups from the 20s into the 80s. It is Florida after all. You get a different, and at any given night we have people spread out that far. The Celtic Ray is probably the perfect example of this. You have drinking age and all the way to, like I said, people that are seasoned. Let's just put it that way. So the video game questions, they go right over the head of a lot of people, but a lot of people knew this one, and that was a big deal. I punched it under the in the news. It was business news because it tanked Sony stock last week. Fort Bragg is Fort Bragg again. It had been Fort Liberty. That had been in the news. I'm not going to dive too headlong into anything overtly political, but in the rationale or reasons why they did, why they didn't. I know that this version of Fort Bragg is a different Bragg, but at the same time, it's no longer Fort Liberty. We also had questions concerning let's see. Let me skip that one. I'll get to something else. President Trump asked the U.S. Treasury to stop production of which coin or paper bill. It's the penny. Apparently, the penny costs 3.7 cents per penny to produce. It's not really worth it, and there's so many in production. The next question that I had with that is which other coin or bill costs almost as much to make, about 3 times to make? And that's probably the next one on the chopping block is the nickel. And until they kind of get the currencies kind of back in line with how everything is with, I mean, you have to have those. Those fractional denominations are essential for the economy in the long run. But for functionality right now, makes sense to kind of lop those off. Let's see. I think I had one or two other questions in that vein, and if you'll bear with me, I'm going to my news and notes when we had the currency question. This was also interesting. Again, not trying to dive too far down the rabbit hole of political one way or another. I don't want anybody at any point in time to be aggravated over our political questions. I think I've said this in the previous videos. I'll repeat it again. I'm definitely not trying to put one avenue or another. These are in the news. So it was revealed that Health and Human Services nominee Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has a number of what animals as pets. I actually found this one on NPR. NPR is not a good source of news. I think it leans one way. They have a fun quiz, and that quiz actually kind of keeps its finger on the pulse of things. So every now and again, I'll steal one from them. And this question came from them, and I gave you the choice of snakes, hawks, and a falcon, ferrets, or spiders and a scorpion. It's actually B, hawks and a falcon. Now look, he is a Kennedy after all. So a hawk, I'm saying hawks, interesting. Falcons are expensive. Let's just leave it at that. Let's see. What else did we have in the news this past week? A lot of questions about the Super Bowl, not particularly about the game. We are going to get to that in just a moment. But the commercials were a big part of the question line this week. Only one auto company had ads at the Super Bowl. It was Jeep and Ram had commercials. Harrison Ford being in the Jeep ad was the big one. Apparently, the parent company was there was the question. It's Stellantis, which used to be Fiat Chrysler. Now they're calling themselves Stellantis. They paid $32 million for those ads, and that was a tough question. A lot of people didn't get that right. We also had the Dunkin' Donuts question, or Dunkin'. One of the more popular ads was featured Ben Affleck and his brother Casey, and then of course that was for Dunkin', and that led into the other Duncan question. It wasn't a news question, it was just geography. So, in looking up some information on Dunkin', the state of New York has the most locations for Dunkin' Donuts. Which two states have the next most? Massachusetts, where they are headquartered, and Florida. Believe it or not, a lot of folks love their Dunkin'. Let's see. We had the question about the island that was called Instagram Island, or it's been nicknamed that. It's a very picturesque vacation island. It's been getting a lot of seismic activity. That is in Greece. We also had the question about the rainbow capital of the world, or at least the United States, and it was Hawaii. Let's see, what else did we have? So the other ones that pertain to the Super Bowl was starting with the Kendrick Lamar music question on our Wednesday version. Halftime show, divisive in a way. Look, I'm not a rap fan. 95% of our audience is probably not. I should probably move that number. Let's say 85% are not rap fans. Rap music is pop music now. It is that is the dominating music of our time. I don't particularly know Kendrick Lamar's music. I had a question a couple months ago. It was one of the songs of the year, and it was a big news that it was the big diss track against Drake that Not Like Us. But when I watched the halftime, I look, I don't know the artist the last handful of years. The NFL hired Jay-Z to do the halftime entertainment. He's in charge of that. His company, I can't remember the name of his company right off the top of my head, has been given the basically given the freedom to put these artists together. They have tried to feature hip hop and rap in particular, and that's why you get artists like Usher, Rihanna, Of course, he's married to Beyonce. I mean, he just, paid $100 million to get Beyonce a country music Grammy. That power, he's able to put out artists that he wants to put out. And Kendrick Lamar is very popular. How popular? It broke the record for most people watching a Super Bowl halftime show, surpassing Michael Jackson's record from 1993. 133.5 million people watched. I may not be into rap. You may not be into rap. It, it I had to read up on this because I was like, I didn't know one song, and I guess I heard "Not Like Us" was in there. Apparently, this boggled my mind. He performed 10 songs at halftime. I again, rap music isn't my thing. I wouldn't have known the difference. I didn't know. I did see Serena Williams. I recognized her. I didn't recognize the artist SZA, which led to this question: Is which song does Kendrick Lamar have in the top three of the Billboard charts right now? It's actually at number three, and it was SZA performed it with him. It's a song called Luther. So again, back to Monday and Tuesday. Everybody's raving about the halftime. Most of my age group, I would argue, isn't a rap fan, or maybe we're getting old. And let's be honest, I felt old by not knowing any of the songs. Usher, that was from the 2000s. I knew every song, and that wasn't that long ago. Rihanna, everybody knows Rihanna, but this is rap culture, and this is a whole thing. But it is something that's big to a lot of people, and I went down a couple different rabbit holes to what really was that great? And there's all sorts of videos and things written about how layered this was and how thoughtful it was and how much went into it, the imagery. Um, he won a Pulitzer. So there are people that, you know, are into cars. There are people that are into, I'm one of those guys. There are people that are into rap music. Now, you may not like cars. You may not like sports, but you may like. So that you get where I'm coming from. I guess so. I have an appreciation for it, in a small degree. It wasn't my music. It wasn't something that I went, yeah, that was great. I love Prince. I wish God rested the purple one, please. We missed you. That guy, I would have loved. But my dad, my sister loved Prince. Growing up, my dad couldn't stand Prince, and I remember when Prince was on the halftime show. I'm sure my dad was like, oh, and rolled his eyes and left the room. But anyway, I digress. We did have a couple questions about Kendrick Lamar, and of course, it played into the question, and it was, um, what item has again? He made a fashion statement. I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm a I'm a fashionista. Quietly, I may not look it, especially today. This is all you're getting today. But yeah, I'm trying to pay attention to pop culture. I'm trying to pay attention to the current style and fashion. There's no way I'm going to be able to rock flared jeans, that's for sure. But Kendrick Lamar did, and apparently it's become a big thing, and apparently those are coming back in fashion. While women's skinny jeans are back in fashion, apparently the flared jeans are something that ABC News is like, wow, this was a big deal. How much did the pair that he had on cost? $1,300. Jeans are expensive enough. I think they're running about $75 to $100 a pair these days for just Levi's. $1,300. That also played into the Tom Brady question. He was spotted wearing a ridiculously expensive watch he was in the broadcast booth. It was a Jacob and Company yellow sapphire, and it retails for $740,000. $740,000. Good on you, Tom. Let's see. What else do we have in the news? I do apologize. I am bouncing around to my notes from day to day today. We had from Tuesday. Did we have anything else about the Super Bowl? This one, Jalen Hurts was named the MVP of the game, but Josh Allen named the MVP of the league. We had another Super Bowl question where it was. So this one came up, and there were multiple answers on this. Hopefully, our hosts recognized this one pretty quickly, and it was the tush push. Jalen Hurts scored on scored the first touchdown on a play that the Eagles sometimes run. It's called the tush push or the. So again, hopefully we didn't have any rubs with that. There was a sports question that we're going to get to in just a moment that was an issue. We had obviously with the Super Bowl over and football season over, we're moving into the winter sports. Even though it's almost spring, basketball and hockey, you should probably expect to have more questions about that. The NHL All-Star Game this weekend has been replaced. There's no All-Star Game. There is the four nations face off. The United States, Canada, two of them name the other two countries. Now, as a big hockey fan myself, I was a little surprised when I heard this about the two nations. I was like, well, how are you only having four nations when there are a lot of hockey crazed countries out there? And one country not included, and a couple people put as an answer is the Czech Republic. A lot of Czech players, some really great Czech players. Russia also. Russia is now persona non grata. Not, they are a pariah on the national stage. They're not going to include the Russians in anything. I was, however, surprised that not a lot of people got, or as not as many people as I thought would get, Sweden and Finland. A lot of people put France, Germany, Iceland. Have you been watching the Mighty Ducks? I don't think they have any players in the NHL. Greenland, again, not a hotbed for hockey. So just some other people, put some wildly different things out there. But yeah, the four nations, there's a lot of Finns, a lot of Swedes. That's why that was. The other hockey question is where we ran into trouble, and this was from our Wednesday set. So, and I rechecked my source on this one. And it was about where it concerns American born hockey players. Who's the all time leading goal scorer in U.S. Hockey history with 791 goals? Well, when I looked this up, two sources immediately popped up Brett Hull. Brett Hull never played any international hockey that I remember. He might have been on the Olympic team and he might have been on the U.S. Olympic team, but he was born in Canada. His father was one of the legends of the game. Brett's a legend in his own right, but wasn't born in the United States. It was an honest mistake. Quant Hockey is where I got the source from, and it was backed up at another. I think it was and I'm not privy to it, right? I had to write it down. I didn't write it down. But Mike Modano played for the Minnesota North Stars and the Dallas Stars. Actually, the American born with the most goals. So what we did and what I instructed my people to do when it was found, give everybody a point, and that kind of caught that. Hopefully, made that go away. College hockey is also a thing. Not as many people know about this, and this was a tough one for sure. City of Boston hosts an annual Bean Pot Championship between Boston College, Boston University, and which two other Boston area schools, Harvard and Northeastern University. So there you go. Let's see. Any other sports questions this week? UCLA, the men's program with the most championships all time, at just 5 feet 6 inches small. Spud Webb won the All-Star Dunk Contest this week in history, 1986. And I think that really kind of does it for our sports questions. Let me cruise over here to our others. Um, the let's see. No, that's it. I think that's all we have for the sports questions that was of any consequence this week. Again, we'll be shaking those up from venue to venue, place to place. We have our detractors on the sports category. Got a couple places. Well, we're nerds. We like nerd trivia. We don't know sports. Well, I think this is the whole idea for our trivia is to have somebody for everything. Have your movie person. Have the girl that knows pop music. Have the guy that knows history. Whatever it is. If you've got somebody that the fashion questions are mostly aimed towards our female audience. The video game questions There's a lot of female gamers. They know this stuff as well as any guy. So that's again, I tried to cover as much ground for as many demographics. For all you folks that are my age and older, I know that those aren't your favorite questions. We have one more sports question. The Great American Race, the Daytona 500, will run on Sunday. I had a question about which race car driver has won the most Daytona 500s. He's nicknamed the King. It was Richard Petty. I had some of our other places. What car number did he have that he won those seven Daytonas in? The car number was 43. It's very iconic in NASCAR. I know we don't ask a lot of NASCAR questions. Back to it. Let's see what we had. Starting with our Tuesday set. I'm trying to think if there was anything out there that for history. A lot of questions regarding the presidents. Abraham Lincoln, born in Kentucky in a log cabin, was from Illinois. Let's see. We had questions about history and technology this week. The LP, when it comes to vinyl records, long play, video home system for VHS. So this guy comes up to me. It was very nice. He wasn't rude about it. Look, I realize most people call it home system, or that's what it's supposed. He goes, but it actually stands for this. And I forgot what he said. I didn't get a chance to look it up. I don't think but one or two guys. And he goes, I used to work on VCRs back in the 80s and 90s. Well, that's why he knows that. We never I never cater to the 1% of people. I try not to anyway. We do have some tough questions from time to time, but that I don't think anybody but that guy knew that. So we had the Pentium question. Now, again, I've got some folks that are big into computers that come to our shows, and they want questions like that, tech questions, and they got that one. Pentium right off the bat. Let's see, history. More questions. I had the Janet Reno question. First female U.S. Attorney General in the United States, Bill Clinton administration. Will Ferrell last year apologized for portraying her on Saturday Night Live. We had some Saturday Night Live questions. We'll get to that in just a moment. Any other history that was interesting or had a backstory? Uh, Titanic was one of the questions. We had a history and movies question on our Wednesday set, which Kathy Bates was in that film. She played a real life historic figure, which was the unsinkable Molly Brown or Margaret Brown. Let's see. History. This past week in history, back in 2013, the very sad death of Chris Kyle, the American sniper author and the actual, former Navy SEAL. Very sad. So we had an interesting question about that. He has two first names for a first and last name. Chris Kyle. Somebody asked our host Bill up at Chubby's in Punta Gorda, will you just take Chris? I wouldn't have taken it. Here's why. Here's my rule of thumb, and you can probably assume this whenever I write a question. If it's a historic figure, I'll take a last name. Now, if it's George H.W. Bush versus George W. Bush, I'm going to need the difference. But if you are going to, if there's an answer to be given, I would have taken, I can't remember that guy's first name, but his last name was Kyle. Yes, we'll take it. However, if it's, let's say it's a TV question, what are the first names of these characters? I'll usually say that, and I'll take the first name of those characters. That's kind of the delineation. But if it's a historic figure, yeah, you got to come up with better than just Chris. So there you go. Chris Kyle. Let's see. History questions from Thursday. What did we have? We had more president's question. We also had the Galileo question. A lot of people put Copernicus. Don't know why. Let's see. And then, of course, the St. Valentine's Day massacre. That was a tough question. This was only given at a couple different places. What was the name of the Chicago mobster whose men were killed? Al Capone ordered the hit, killed seven of George Bugs Moran and his gang. That was a tough one. The president's question were old and new, or old and young. Thursday's set was President Trump will be 79 in June. He's the second oldest serving U.S. president, only to his predecessor, President Joe Biden. My question was, who were the other six oldest in office? Ronald Reagan, 77. Dwight Eisenhower, 70. Andrew Jackson, 69. James Buchanan, 69. Harry S. Truman, 68. And George H.W. Bush at also 68. So that gave way to our Tuesday set, which I do believe, oh, I'm sorry, our Wednesday set, which was the youngest presidents. This one proved to be tougher for most people. I gave you Teddy Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy. Less people got these right. The average number correct on this one was two or three. Couple teams faced them. And look, we put the Lulus in there, so if you get all of them, we're going to keep our eye on you. Let's put it that way. But in this case, if you're a history buff or you just did the deductions, nobody got all five of the youngest across the board, unless they used beer. Bill Clinton, 46. Ulysses S. Grant, 46. Barack Obama, 47. Grover Cleveland, 47. Franklin Pierce, 48. Only a fraction of people got Franklin Pierce. Only a fraction got U.S. Grant, and only a few got Grover Cleveland. Um, so just a thought. The other history question we had, let's see, that pertained to anything. I do apologize. I'm fumbling through this today, and we're running short on time. No, I think that's it as far as the history questions. Movies, or let's do TV real quick. TV, we had a 70s thread. And the questions were about spinoffs of All in the Family. The first one, 1972, was Maude, featuring B. Arthur, who would later go on to go to the Golden Girls. There was a show that was spun off of Maude, 1974. It featured the Evans family and her housekeeper. That was Good Times. Good Times. And that was 1974, before the Jeffersons. So then the next question was, who was the breakout star from Good Times? He played the oldest son, which was JJ. Jimmy Walker. And Dynamite. I love those shows growing up. Let's see. The other questions for that one included No, that was it. I think that was it as far as that was concerned. I know there were a couple of different variations of that one. We had the garbage question. This one got played at a couple different places. Which reality game show did the comedian Nikki Glazer host? It featured three women on an island with 24 men. Some were nice guys, some were not. That's F Boy Island. Yes, people wrote the full thing, but F Boy Island was good enough for me. Never seen it. I don't do reality TV. These questions for the garbage TV and reality questions are I look for some of the more ridiculous ones to bring you each week. That's for sure. But I'm running out because I mean there's an endless supply of crap. But how many shows can you ask questions about where that's concerned? We also had the Joe Rogan question, which showed that he host from 2001 to 2006 on NBC. Fear Factor. What sitcom did he get his big break on? It was 1995, and he played the role of Joe on News Radio. Grossly underrated show, News Radio, with the late Phil Hartman and a bunch of other great cast members. We also had the question, Saturday Night Live questions. But what comedian and actor had his childhood stories growing up in Brooklyn turned into a television show? That was Chris Rock. The show was Everybody Hates Chris. Saturday Night Live is going to be featuring their 50th anniversary special this weekend. I used to be a big Saturday Night Live fan. They kind of lost me about maybe 10 or 12 years ago. The last time I really kind of paid attention, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were behind the news desk, and my generation of Saturday Night Live uh, was from Eddie Murphy through the Will Ferrell years in the 90s, and then it started to taper off. Life gets in the way. I didn't watch it. It is still very influential. Lorne Michaels, the original creator and still executive producer. Which TV and movie star has hosted the most times? 17 times. Alec Baldwin, and by one more than Steve Martin. TV. Let's see what else we have. Let's go to our Tuesday set because I think there were a couple interesting ones there. Bear with me. The CSI question. We had which four songs were featured as the theme songs to the CSI? And I Can See for Miles and Miles, Who Are You, Baba O'Reilly. Um, I'm missing one. We had that. I also had for our demographically older groups. Name the four musicians who made up the original lineup of the Who. This was tough for some people. Most people can get Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend, John Entwistle, and Keith Moon, the late Keith Moon. The other members for that. Let's see if there's anything else interesting on our TV questions for this week, as I'm getting short on time. Not off the top of my head that I can see in my notes here. Let me double check. Yeah, we had that question, and it tied in with the Saturday Night Live. He was a long time writer for Saturday Night Live, and then of course he was also a writer on The Simpsons. In fact, The Simpsons series finale actually aired as the season debut this year. It was like a retrospect back on The Simpsons, and it was a weird time warp type thing. But he actually was featured in that. Gilligan's Island. We had a couple questions about that one. The last surviving member of the that cast is Tina Louise. She's 91. Played the role of Ginger. On our Thursday set of TV questions, let's see. I don't think we had anything that was too far off of our. Oh, this one was great, and I wish. Now we have a team on Tuesday called "There's Always Money in the Banana Stand," and I love it because I loved Arrested Development and Jason Bateman's. That was the question, which critically acclaimed but ratings challenged 2000s era comedy followed the dysfunctional Bluth family. If you're a person that loves to binge shows, that's an easy binge. Watch them; they're hilarious. The other CSI question, by the way, actor William Peterson played Gil Grissom, and that is that for TV movies. The movie questions were romantically inclined. We had the which 1987 film features the character Francis Houseman falling in love with an a dance instructor named Johnny Castle. Of course, that's Dirty Dancing. Of course, she's nicknamed Baby because nobody puts Baby in the corner. We had the Jerry Maguire question was tough on the front end. Most people automatically groaned and got the back end. Tom Cruise is going to have to kind of win his wife back. His wife, played by Renee Zellweger in that film. He says, "What famous movie like? You complete me." Oh, isn't that nice? And then she goes, "Shut up! You had me at hello." That's the one most people remember is the "You had me at hello." That's all you really needed. Um, yeah, love is grand, isn't it? Let's see, what else do we have as far as the movies? Movies. Let's go through here. We had the Grease question, Sandy and Danny by Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta. 2 weeks in a row, we get John Travolta in there. Movie questions. This one was, and I hope again. Look, I have seven different hosts that host trivia for me across Southwest Florida. Typically, I send those questions out the day of, and they are hopefully getting a couple hours worth of time with the questions, and they get a chance to look at them. Sometimes I send updates throughout the day. Sometimes those people don't get those updates, and this got sent out late. So, in the Disney original Sleeping Beauty from 1959, tell me what is the name of the prince that wakes her up with a kiss? It's Prince Charming. Prince Charming was Prince Philip. So hopefully your host accepted either one. And look, if you got caught up in this, I haven't heard any backlash about it yet. It's possible somebody got miffed about that, but hopefully you understand. And where that concerns, look, we're going to make a mistake from time to time. I do my absolute best to bring you questions that have the sources right there with them. Most of them, I go to International Movie Database, IMBD, DB. It's a wealth of information. I have you can back anything up, cast members, plot points, credits, whatever else from there. The new Captain American film is in theaters, Brave New World. Captain America is now Sam Cooke, played by the actor Anthony Mackie. What superhero alias did he previously have? And he was the Falcon. This is another thing that I'm not big into. I'm not big into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I watched the original X-Men, and I think I saw Iron Man 2. From there on, I have not seen them. I know. Yeah, I know. You're shaking your head. I get it. Um, I have a friend, and this person will remain nameless, that is almost contrary to the world that is by seeing popular movies. He's never seen Titanic. Not that it's great. Rose is the real villain. Um, he's never seen Die Hard. He's never seen all these great movies, and he'll proud as it never seen it. Never seen it. I'm like, anyway. The other movie question I thought was interesting was the "Say Anything" question, the John Cusack movie from 1989, where he holds the boombox in your eyes. Yeah, Ione Skye, the actress that played his love interest in that. Right on time. My cat is here. We had the Night of the Roxbury Chris Kattan question. Also, I'm running low on time, folks, so I'm breezing through these as fast as I possibly can. I'm way over. Let's see. I don't think I got anything else. I think I've said enough. I've rambled on for now 37 minutes. I hope you have enjoyed these videos. I hope you will continue to check them out on ZIMCO Entertainment and our YouTube channel. There was no Zim and the Husky Fella Sports podcast this week. Actually, I may be doing one later today if I feel up to it. We've been having trouble with these mics. This mic here is on its last legs. Sheena Reagan gifted this to me about 7 years ago. It has been a workhorse and a warrior, but I think it's been jostled around in my luggage too many times. And I can talk into it and you can hear me. But you can't. I've changed the channels. I've changed the pattern, whatever else. I can't seem to get Brian's voice is that's the husky fella. He's got a low voice. It doesn't catch it. So we're looking for replacements. I'm begging anybody out there if you're big into podcasts or you podcast yourself, give us a hand. I'd love to have some help on this and make our show technically better. I mean, I have wonderful graphics. Your ad could be here. Just saying. I want to thank everybody for coming out this week again. A very busy time of year for us and for all of our hosts. Stacy Steele doing an extra gig of Singo Bingo for us this week out at Cinnamon Cove. Sheena Reagan is doing her podcast and her sketches and her comedy stuff, and then still pulling down a couple gigs a week for me. Jen Bean, she's another hard worker out there. She works for her family's accounting firm, and she's picking up a couple gigs for me per week. My buddy Joe Gizzo, he's out playing music this week. You go see him. He does Kingsgate for us. He's another hardworking guy. All of our fantastic hosts, Bill, Emily, Xavier. Xavier's new to the group, by the way. He's been with us almost a year. May will be a year. They make my life easier. So thank you guys. You I heart you. I love you. How about a hug? Sorry. At this point, I think I need to call it a week until we see one another next time. Have yourself a very pleasant weekend, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day.